Spetsnaz instructor stares at a young recruit and gives a simple order. Drop down and give me 100 push-ups. It's freezing, deep inside the Soviet Union, and the recruit knows there are no breaks. 1 set, 100 reps. And quitting wasn't really an option. Most recruits couldn't even get halfway. But here's the strange part. The soldiers who eventually reached that 100 rep mark weren't necessarily bigger, stronger, or more talented than everyone else. In fact, they were using a training method that sounds completely backwards. It was a method so effective, it helped ordinary people go from struggling with 15 push-ups to numbers they never thought possible. And the craziest part? It wasn't really about building bigger muscles. It was about training something most people never even think about: their nervous system. Today, I'm going to show you the Soviet-inspired method behind these incredible results, why Spetsnaz trainers trusted it, and the one rule they refused to break. And trust me, stay tuned for what happened around week 10, because it completely caught me by surprise. If you're stuck at 15 or 20 push-ups, you've likely been told to push harder. But in the Spetsnaz camps, that was considered the biggest mistake a recruit could make. They knew that leaving every workout exhausted doesn't build elite strength, it just drains your battery. This battery drain is what sports scientists now call central nervous system, CNS, fatigue. When you push to failure every single day, your brain actually sends a signal to your muscles to down-regulate, basically putting your strength in power-saving mode to protect you. This is why you can feel weaker a week into a hard program. The Soviet method avoids that shutdown, allowing recruits to stay fresh and perform every rep with quality instead of spending days recovering from exhaustion. The secret they discovered? Your muscles aren't the first thing holding you back. Your nervous system is. And once you stop chasing exhaustion and start focusing on quality repetitions, progress often comes faster than you'd expect. Think of a soldier field stripping a rifle. The first time, his hands are shaky and slow, but after 500 repetitions, he can do it blindfolded in seconds. He didn't get stronger fingers, his nervous system simply mastered the path. Push-ups work the exact same way. Soviet trainers didn't want recruits pushing to failure. They wanted every rep to be a perfect lesson for the brain. This approach is called greasing the groove. It's not a workout, it's a skill. And the very first step of this skill starts with a number most people get completely wrong. Instead of training at their limit, they worked at roughly half of it. If someone could do 20 push-ups, they trained with sets of 10. It sounds almost too easy, but that was the point. The goal wasn't exhaustion, it was repetition. Every set was performed while still feeling fresh, allowing the movement to be practiced again and again without overwhelming the nervous system. One rule mattered above all: finish every set knowing you could have done more. Rather than cramming all their push-ups into a single brutal workout, recruits spread these easy sets throughout the day. At first, the method felt completely wrong. Most recruits expected training to leave them exhausted. If they weren't struggling, sweating, or collapsing at the end of a session, it felt like they weren't making progress. That's what makes this approach so difficult to trust. The workouts never feel heroic. There are no dramatic moments where you push through unbearable pain. Most of the time, you finish a set and walk away feeling like you barely trained at all. But that's exactly what the instructors wanted. Every set was treated as practice, not a test. The goal wasn't to discover your limits every day. The goal was to make the movement so familiar that your body could perform it efficiently without wasting energy. Over time, those clean repetitions began stacking up. 10 reps here, 10 reps there, day after day, week after week. Individually, none of the sets seemed impressive. Push-ups felt smoother. The sticking points disappeared. Reps that once felt heavy started feeling effortless. Without realizing it, recruits were building a level of strength endurance that would have been impossible to achieve through occasional all-out workouts. Most people treat push-ups as just a chest exercise. The Soviets saw them differently. Before each rep, recruits were taught to create tension throughout the entire body, gripping the floor with their hands, squeezing their glutes, and bracing their core as if preparing to take a punch. This creates what's known as irradiation, a phenomenon where tension in one area helps recruit more muscle fibers throughout the body. Instead of relying only on the chest and arms, the entire body works together as a single unit. That might sound like a small adjustment, but it changes how the movement feels. Suddenly, every rep becomes stronger, more stable, and more efficient. Combined with the high-frequency training approach, it helped recruits build strength without constantly beating themselves into the ground. After a few weeks, something unusual started happening. The sets still felt manageable, but performance kept improving. Every reassessment revealed the same pattern: smoother reps, better control, and steadily increasing numbers. The movement that once felt difficult was becoming automatic. Then one day, a number that used to feel impossible suddenly felt normal. A recruit who once struggled to reach 15 push-ups might casually knock out 40 or 50 without panic. That's when many people realize the method is actually working. But the biggest surprise doesn't happen in week 4. It doesn't even happen in week 8. It happens around week 10. That's when many people discover they're capable of far more than they ever imagined. And that's exactly what happened to me. By the time week 10 arrived, I knew I had improved, but I still had no idea how far I could actually go, so it was finally time for the ultimate test. I got into position, took a deep breath, and started counting. 10, 20, 30. The numbers kept moving. Then 50 passed. Then 60. At that point, I had already gone far beyond where I started, but I wasn't stopping. 70 came and went. Then 80. My arms were getting heavier, my chest was burning, and every repetition demanded more focus than the last. Then I looked at the number. 95, just 5 away from the goal. I kept my form clean, pushed out a few more reps, and stopped at 98. Just 2 short of 100. And honestly, I couldn't stop smiling. 10 weeks earlier, 20 push-ups felt like a wall I couldn't break through. Now I was staring at 98. The real victory wasn't the final number. It was the transformation that got me there. Looking back, that's when I realized the real lesson behind the whole experiment. The weird Soviet Spetsnaz secret wasn't some magical exercise. It wasn't a special supplement. It wasn't even about pushing harder than everyone else. It was about mastering a skill through intelligent repetition. While most people chase exhaustion, Spetsnaz trainers chased efficiency. They understood that strength isn't just built in the muscles, it's built in the nervous system too. Now I'm curious, how many push-ups can you do right now? Drop your number in the comments below. And if you decide to try this Soviet-inspired method, come back in a few weeks and let us know how much you've improved. Here's something to think about. If this approach can nearly triple someone's push-up performance, what could happen if the same principle was applied to pull-ups, squats, or even running? That's a question we'll explore in a future video. If you enjoyed this one, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next challenge.